Death Stranding looks amazing and is launching this year on November 8th. I always thought that it would be the last game to release from the three big upcoming Sony exclusives, but here we are. It even looks like Ghost of Tsushima is going to be the final game of the three, because it looks like we know the release window for The Last of Us Part 2. And what does it all mean for the next Horizon game? There's a lot to discuss, so let's get into it. Would be awesome if you could leave a like on the video as it shows your support, and let's go. There were 7 years between the release of Metal Gear Solid 4 and Metal Gear Solid 5. Kojima and his team really took the time to create a sequel, and with Death Stranding he's able to create a new studio and release an open world game in less than 4 years. On Twitter, Hideo is now listing the milestones from the development till the release date announcement, where we also once again see that he decided to make the game on the Decima engine from Guerrilla Games 1 year after opening the studio. So after 3 years of working with this completely new engine, he's planning to release this new IP. That is wild, and I totally thought that he would need more time, because if Sony showed one thing during this generation, it's that they give their first party developers all the time that they need. Great examples are Dreams, for example, or Days Gone. Both games have been in development for 5 or 6 years, and one game hasn't really released yet, but is now in early access. Of course, Death Stranding could still be delayed, but then I still think it would be an impressive achievement. And speaking of delays, it looks like The Last of Us Part 2 was first planned for this fall, but is now planned for early 2020, maybe February 2020. Jason Schreier from Kotaku, who of course has his sources, said that it looked like Death Stranding was about to get a November release, and this was before the new trailer was revealed. And in this same tweet he said that he heard that The Last of Us Part 2 was also planned for fall 2019, but I actually heard it got bumped to early 2020, possibly February. I mean, Death Stranding and The Last of Us Part 2 both in the fall would have been insane, maybe a little too crazy, so February makes way more sense for sure. There was also this rumor that a new trailer with the release date for The Last of Us Part 2 was going to be revealed. Two Spanish websites said that sources told them that it would happen, but we still don't have a trailer at the time of this recording. Maybe it was planned for last week, but then it got delayed because the game got delayed as well, and maybe we will still see this trailer, but now the week before E3 with this new date. I mean, some new footage for The Last of Us Part 2 would be great either way, because it has now been almost 1 year since they showed the last trailer that you of course see right here. I already said this on Twitter and will say it again here. I never thought that Ghost of Tsushima would be the final game to launch from the three big upcoming exclusives. Sucker Punch started working on this game at the beginning of 2015, or maybe even earlier, after the launch of their last project, Infamous First Light, that launched in August 2014. And fun fact, this was when Kojima was still at Konami. I mean, I totally think that they should of course take all the time they need, but I never would have guessed that both Death Stranding and The Last of Us Part 2 would release before it. Jason confirms that Ghost of Tsushima will be the final game of the three, and then the PS5 will launch in the fall, implying that Ghost of Tsushima will likely still launch before the fall of 2020, because that is of course when the PlayStation 5 is expected, November 2020, something like that. So that would mean that all the PlayStation 4 exclusives that are announced right now will be out before the PlayStation 5 releases. And that is big, and that means that around this time next year, all these big three titles will be released, or at least have a release date. May or the Spider-Man September date would make a ton of sense for Ghost of Tsushima in my opinion. So then Sony needs some great games to launch the PS5 with, or have in the launch window, so from fall 2020 till early 2021. And that would be 4 years after the launch of Horizon Zero Dawn. A great timing for this next game, right? I still think though that Horizon 2 is a PlayStation 4 game as well, as I predicted 1 year ago. Just a focus title for the PlayStation 5 that they will showcase on the new hardware, but that will still launch on the PS4 as well. And a lot of recent news suggests this too. We of course first had the news in the Wired article that shared the first PS5 details, that going from the PS4 to the PS5 will be a more gentle transition, with numerous new games being released for both the PS4 and the next gen console. And first I thought, yes, this makes sense because Death Stranding will likely be released around the launch of the PS5, but then also come to the PS4. But now with the rumors that seem to be pretty likely that all the announced PS4 exclusives will be launching before the PS5 is out, makes me think that they will announce new games for the PS5 that will also come to the PS4. But there is more now. Sony namely says that the PS4 will remain the engine of engagement and profitability for the next 3 years. So that is still May 2021. 1.5 years after the launch of the PlayStation 5. While what we normally see is that Sony completely abandons the previous generation a few months after the launch of the new one, or maybe instantly after launching the new one. But I think this time around we can likely expect a ton of support even after the PS5 is out. And with them saying that the PS4 will remain the engine of profitability for at least 1.5 years after the PS5 is out, makes me think that they will keep releasing games for the PS4 as well after the new console is out, as that will of course drive the profitability as well. Sony also showed the next gen load times during this financial meeting where they talked to investors about the future, showcasing once again how fast the PlayStation 5 will be and that the no load times slogan will be one of the key focuses for the marketing. Less than 1 second was needed to load something that takes 8 seconds on the PS4 Pro, and here again they showcased the Spider-Man PS4 example. And this no load time thing will already create an insane benefit for people that decide to buy the next PlayStation. That all the new open world games, for example, don't take so insanely long to load, so you can instantly start playing or fast travel to a specific location or try again when you die. I totally believe that this, the new UI and the better graphics, the new controller will already be enough in the first year to sell the PlayStation 5. I don't think that it needs exclusive games that could totally benefit from the PS4 sales. Like release Horizon Zero Dawn 2 on both the PS4 and the PS5, people on the new hardware will have better graphics, no load times, and maybe faster speed with their mount, as the world will be able to render things faster on the PlayStation 5, while people on the PS4 can still experience the game but do have the load times and slightly less graphics and maybe a slower mount. But this way Sony can still sell this huge game to way more people. Hardcore people like myself will instantly buy the PlayStation 5 no matter what, because you know that in the end it will be worth it. So I would not mind if there were no big exclusives, let's say in the first year, but that we still got better versions of these big games on the PlayStation 5. That would be fine. And that will be the approach of Xbox as well, with Halo Infinite for example, that will release on both the Xbox One and the next Xbox. Heck, Nintendo even did it with Zelda Breath of the Wild. And it did not impact the sales of the Switch version at all. They were even higher than the Wii U version, while there were way more Wii U consoles out there in the wild. I said it before, making Horizon 2 a PlayStation 5 exclusive would be such a shame, as it would really limit the growth potential of the overall franchise. Like, we know that the game sold more than 10 million units, so already 1 out of 10 PS4 owners have bought or played Horizon, although it's likely more thanks to used games and being able to share the game, of course. We also have the sales data of the other major PS4 games that show that God of War, for example, sold more than 10 million units in a little over a year. And that is more than the other games in the series. Uncharted 4 sold like 16 million units or something. Very insane. Again, more than the previous games in the series like Uncharted 3. There are rumors going around that a new dev team in San Diego is making an Uncharted game, with old Naughty Dog devs joining the team as well. And looking at these sales numbers, you can totally see why Sony would want to continue this series. Because Naughty Dog will likely never return, and they are of course now working on the second Last of Us game. And the sales numbers for the first one, especially the remastered version, are wild as well. And that shows you once again that a lot of people did not own a PS3 but did get a PS4, and what Sony wants to do for the PlayStation 5 is leverage the backwards compatibility of the PS5 to transition the community to next gen faster and more seamlessly than ever before. Because it's of course pretty nice to know that all your PS4 games will work on the PlayStation 5 and maybe are enhanced as well, so they have no load times anymore. So yes, it will be hard for Xbox to convince you to get the next Xbox instead of the next PlayStation if you own a PS4. So they really have to bring it this E3 and beyond of course as well. It will be really hard, but an exciting battle that will again already start on June 9th during the Microsoft press conference. I can't wait for E3 and we'll cover a lot of big games here, so totally subscribe for the E3 coverage. No Sony will be at E3, but still a lot of stuff to look forward to. I actually already made a video on why E3 2019 will be amazing despite some big missing publishers and games. You can watch that by clicking on the screen. Let me know what you think of this recent PS4 exclusive news in the comments down below. A like on this video would of course be super appreciated, and I will speak to you next time. Goodbye!